When you wake up in the morning, does your body ever feel heavier than it should? Your knees ache just from standing. Your back resists every bend. Sleep doesn't refresh you. Instead, you drag yourself through the day with less energy than you had years ago. Many people think, well, that's just old age. But here's the surprising truth. It isn't always age. Sometimes, it's the silent habits you repeat every single day. The 7 little routines that quietly steal your strength, your memory, and even your appearance, without you noticing. Imagine a garden. With the right care, soil can stay rich and fruitful for decades. But if you pour the wrong water or let in hidden weeds, the soil weakens fast. Your body works the same way. And if you keep these 7 habits, your soil of life ages long before its time. Stay with me until the very end, because I'll show you exactly what those habits are, and how simple changes can help you reclaim energy, protect your memory, and even slow down visible signs of aging. Some of my patients felt improvements in just 1 week. But first, let's make this personal. Where are you listening from right now? Is it early in the morning, maybe after lunch, or late at night? And as you listen, how does your body feel in this moment? Tense, tired, or maybe searching for relief? Share it in the comments. That way, we know we're not alone. We're here together, working toward a calmer, healthier, longer life. If what I just described feels familiar, you're not alone. Every week, I meet men and women in their 60s, 70s, even 80s, who tell me the same story. I feel tired before the day even starts. My memory isn't as sharp as it used to be. Some days, even climbing a few stairs feels like running a marathon. And if you also have these symptoms I've just described, then I'm certain this video is for you. Don't hesitate, go ahead and subscribe to my channel, so you won't miss the tips that could help you slow down aging and regain your vitality. The truth is, these struggles aren't just about getting older. They're about how daily choices, the ones we hardly notice, slowly wear down our body's ability to recover. Think about it. A car engine can run smoothly for hundreds of thousands of miles if it's cared for. But give it the wrong fuel day after day, and even a brand new engine starts to sputter. Our bodies are the same. I've seen seniors who once had vibrant energy field drained because their digestion slowed down. Their muscles stiffened, or their skin lost elasticity, not because of their actual age, but because of habits that quietly chip away at their health. Some habits speed up inflammation, which feels like a fire in the joints. Others drain your sleep quality, making the brain foggier each morning. And some even change how your heart and blood vessels age, adding unnecessary years to your body clock. Now, here's what I want you to reflect on, as you listen right now. Which part of your life feels most affected? Is it your sleep, your energy during the day, or maybe the little aches that won't go away? Drop it in the comments, not just for me, but so others can see they're not struggling alone. We're building a circle of support here, and your story could be the one that helps someone else. You see, I don't share these things lightly. For over 30 years, I've worked as a geriatric specialist, walking beside men and women who wanted not just to live longer, but to live better. I've watched my patients struggle with fatigue that made simple joys, like walking with grandchildren or tending the garden, feel impossible. I've also seen the amazing transformations when small daily changes gave them back energy, clearer memory, and even brighter moods. That's why I can make you this promise. If you're willing to look honestly at your own daily habits, and remove even 2 of the 7 we'll cover today, you will begin to notice real change, better sleep, less stiffness, and more energy, often within just a few short weeks. This work is deeply personal to me. Early in my career, I lost someone close to me far too soon, not because of an incurable disease, but because of years of small, overlooked habits that chipped away at their health. That experience taught me something powerful. Longevity isn't built on one big decision. It's shaped by the little choices we make every single day. And in just a moment, I'll walk you through the 7 daily habits that secretly age you faster, and with each one, I'll share real moments I've seen in my own patients' lives. Chances are, you'll recognize yourself or someone you love in these stories. It feels wonderful to know you're still here with me, walking through this journey together. And I can imagine what you might be feeling right now. Maybe a little anxious, maybe curious, maybe even worried, because deep down, you know that something in your daily routine may be quietly working against you. Tell me in the comments, are you listening with excitement, or with worry? Either way, both feelings are real, and both are proof that you care about your health. I want you to hold on to that feeling, because what I'm about to share are the 7 daily habits that secretly age you faster. They're habits I've seen again and again in my patients, sometimes spotted in the most ordinary moments. At a dinner table, in a waiting room, or even in a casual chat over coffee. And once revealed, they often explain years of fatigue, stiffness, or decline that people once thought was just normal aging. Let's open the curtain and look closely at the very first one. Habit 1. Processed meats. Let's begin with something that shows up on far too many plates: processed meats. Think about a simple breakfast, maybe sausage, bacon, or slices of ham. They smell wonderful in the pan. The sound of sizzling feels almost comforting. But here's the hard truth. Every time you eat those foods, you may be feeding your body something far more dangerous than you realize. The World Health Organization has classified processed meats, yes, bacon, hot dogs, salami, as Group 1 carcinogens, the very same category as smoking. That doesn't mean one slice of bacon equals one cigarette, but it does mean there is direct evidence these meats increase the risk of colorectal cancer. In fact, research shows that eating just 50 grams of processed meat per day, about 2 strips of bacon, raises the risk of colorectal cancer by 18%. But cancer isn't the only problem. Processed meats are loaded with sodium and preservatives like nitrates. For older adults, that means higher blood pressure, stiffer arteries, and more strain on the heart. Imagine your arteries as a garden hose. Over time, the salt and chemicals act like grit inside the hose, making it harder for blood to flow smoothly. The result? Fatigue, breathlessness, and faster aging of your cardiovascular system. Let me tell you about George, a 68-year-old I once worked with. He loved his morning bacon. To him, skipping it meant the day hadn't really started. But by the time he came to me, his blood pressure was through the roof, and he was always exhausted after the simplest activities, like carrying groceries. When we looked closely, the habit was clear: too much processed meat, every single day. Cutting it down wasn't easy for George, but after 3 months of switching his bacon for a simple vegetable omelet with beans for protein, his blood pressure dropped nearly 15 points, and he said he finally felt like he had the energy of a man 10 years younger. That's the kind of hidden toll these foods take. They steal your energy quietly, day by day, until one morning you wake up and feel older than you are. So if you see yourself in George's story, or if your plate looks a little too familiar with bacon or ham on most mornings, take a moment. Ask yourself, is this habit worth aging my heart and draining my years faster? And here's where it gets even more interesting. Food isn't the only culprit. Aging also sneaks up during the hours we spend not eating, but sitting still. Which brings us to the second daily habit. Habit 2. Sitting too long. Now let's move from the kitchen table to the living room chair. Picture this. You sit down after breakfast, maybe to read the paper, scroll through your phone, or watch the morning news. Minutes turn into hours. Before you know it, the sun has shifted across the window, but your body hasn't moved much at all. This quiet stillness feels harmless, even restful. But in reality, sitting too long is one of the most dangerous daily habits that ages us faster than almost anything else. Studies from the American Journal of Preventive Medicine show that sitting more than 6 hours a day increases the risk of dying from heart disease by nearly 20% compared to those who sit less than 3 hours. And it's not just about the heart. Long hours of sitting weaken your muscles, slow down your circulation, and make your bones lose density faster, accelerating frailty. Think of your body like a car engine. If it sits in the garage too long without running, the oil thickens, the battery weakens, and the parts begin to rust. That's exactly what happens inside us. Blood sugar rises, blood clots form more easily, and joints stiffen like rusty hinges. I remember meeting Linda, a 73-year-old retired teacher. She told me her knees were failing her, and she feared she might soon need a walker. But when we looked closer, it wasn't her knees that had failed, it was her chair. Hours of television every afternoon had turned her leg muscles into fragile twigs. When we started a simple routine of standing up every 30 minutes, adding a few minutes of walking around the house, and gentle stretching, within 6 months she felt stronger than she had in years. She didn't just walk, she danced at her granddaughter's wedding. So let me ask you, does your chair have more control over your life than you do? Because the truth is, every extra hour spent sitting chips away at your vitality. But every small break to stand, stretch, or walk is like oiling the gears of your body, keeping them young, flexible, and alive. And if sitting too much can age us this quickly, imagine what happens when we add another hidden culprit: sugar. Not just the sugar you sprinkle into coffee, but the kind that hides in your daily drinks. Let's talk about that next. Habit 3. Sugary drinks. After hours of sitting, many of us reach for something sweet to sip, maybe a can of soda, a flavored iced tea, or even so-called energy drinks. They taste refreshing, give a quick burst of energy, and seem harmless compared to a slice of cake or a cookie. But here's the truth. Sugary drinks are like pouring acid rain on your body's inner garden. They don't just add empty calories, They accelerate aging in ways you can actually measure at the cellular level. A large study from the University of California, San Francisco, found that people who drank just one 20-ounce soda a day had shorter telomeres, the protective caps on our DNA, equivalent to 4.6 years of additional biological aging. Imagine aging almost 5 years faster just from a daily drink. And that's only part of the story. Sugary drinks spike blood sugar rapidly, forcing the pancreas to pump out insulin again and again. Over time, this constant demand wears down your body's ability to process sugar, raising the risk of type 2 diabetes, weight gain, and fatty liver disease. For seniors, that means weaker immunity, slower wound healing, and increased inflammation in every joint. I'll never forget Robert, 70 years old, who swore he didn't eat sweets. But when I asked about his daily habits, he admitted he drank 2 cans of cola every afternoon while watching TV. He thought of it as a treat. In truth, it was slowly treating his body to exhaustion. His blood sugar numbers were climbing, his waistline expanding, and his energy crashing by evening. When he swapped those sodas for sparkling water with lemon, within 3 months his blood sugar stabilized. He lost 8 pounds, and he told me, "Doctor, I feel like I've taken bricks off my back." Think of it this way. Your body is like a finely tuned clock. Sugar floods act like sand tossed into the gears, grinding them down faster than time itself. So next time you reach for that sweet drink, ask yourself, is a moment of flavor worth years off your life? And if sugar can do that much damage, what about another habit that often hides in plain sight, the refined carbs on your dinner plate? The white bread or pasta that feels so comforting but secretly drains your strength? Let's explore that next. Habit 4. Refined carbs. Let's move from the glass to the plate, specifically to the soft slice of white bread or the comforting bowl of pasta that so many of us love. They feel gentle, easy to chew, easy to digest. For many, they bring back warm memories of family dinners. But here's the hidden danger. Refined carbohydrates like white bread, pasta, and pastries are stripped of their fiber, their vitamins, their natural strength. What's left is a food that hits your bloodstream like a sugar bomb. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that diets high in refined carbs increased the risk of type 2 diabetes by up to 40%. And another report in the British Journal of Nutrition linked these foods to increased inflammation markers, the very same inflammation that speeds up arthritis, damages arteries, and weakens memory. Think of it this way. Eating refined carbs is like filling your gas tank with watered-down fuel. The car might run for a while, but the engine wears out faster, sputters, and eventually breaks down. That's exactly what happens when your cells are forced to burn through low-quality energy day after day. I met Susan, 66 years old, at a community lecture I gave. She told me she couldn't understand why she always felt tired even though she ate light meals, toast in the morning, noodles at lunch, crackers for snacks. When we examined her diet, the culprit was clear. It wasn't the amount she ate, but the type. Her body was being fed simple carbs without the fiber and nutrients it desperately needed. When she swapped half her meals to whole grains, oatmeal instead of white toast, brown rice instead of noodles, her afternoon crashes disappeared. Within 2 months, she told me, "I finally feel steady again. Not like I'm riding a roller coaster every day." So ask yourself, are the foods that feel easy actually stealing your strength? Because while refined carbs quietly drain your energy, there's another daily habit that can damage you from the inside out: fried foods. They don't just add calories, they inflame every cell in your body. Let's talk about that next. Habit 5. Fried foods. From the soft slice of white bread, let's move to the golden crunch of fried foods. Picture the sound, sizzling oil, the crisp bite of fried chicken, the salty comfort of French fries. For many, it feels like pure satisfaction. But beneath that crunch lies a powerful force of aging. Fried foods are loaded with trans fats and advanced glycation end products, what scientists call AGEs. And the name is fitting. These compounds form when food is cooked at very high temperatures, especially in oil. They inflame your tissues, stiffen your arteries, and accelerate the breakdown of collagen in your skin and joints. One study in the journal Circulation found that people who ate fried foods 4 or more times a week had a 37% higher risk of heart failure. Another study showed that frequent consumption of fried foods is strongly associated with type 2 diabetes and obesity, conditions that cut years off both lifespan and quality of life. Think of your body like a house. Every time you eat fried food, it's like lighting a small fire inside the walls. You might not see the flames right away, but the smoke damage builds up, weakening the structure until one day it collapses. I remember James, a 71-year-old who loved fried catfish. It was his weekend tradition. But he couldn't understand why his joints ached constantly, why his skin looked dull, or why climbing stairs felt like climbing a mountain. When we cut his fried meals from twice a week to once a month and replaced them with baked fish and roasted vegetables, he told me after just 2 months, "Doctor, I feel like I put out a fire in my body. I can breathe easier, and I finally sleep through the night." So the question is, are those few minutes of flavor worth years of stiffness, fatigue, and decline? And here's something most people don't realize. Fried foods don't just hurt the body, they also feed inflammation that can cloud your mind. Which brings us to another silent ager, one that hides in the way we treat our nights. Let's talk about poor sleep. Habit 6. Poor sleep. After the crunch of fried foods, let's step into the quiet of the night. You turn off the lights, lie down, and hope for deep rest. But instead, the night becomes a battlefield. Tossing, turning, waking at 2 a.m., staring at the ceiling until sunrise. Sound familiar? Sleep is not just rest, it's the body's nightly repair shop. Miss those hours, and your body pays the price. The Centers for Disease Control reports that 1 in 3 adults over 60 does not get the recommended 7 to 8 hours of sleep. And research from the University of California, Berkeley, shows that poor sleep accelerates amyloid buildup in the brain, one of the key drivers of memory loss and Alzheimer's disease. And the damage doesn't stop there. Lack of sleep raises cortisol, the stress hormone, which in turn breaks down muscle, weakens bones, and raises blood pressure. Think of it like leaving your phone off the charger night after night. Eventually, the battery won't just drain faster, it will refuse to hold power at all. I think of Elena, a 69-year-old widow who came to me exhausted. She wasn't sick, but she was aging faster than she should. Her blood pressure was rising, her memory slipping, and she had constant aches. When we looked deeper, the culprit was simple: she was only sleeping 4 to 5 hours a night. Once we helped her establish a consistent bedtime, turn off the television an hour earlier, and replace her late coffee with calming herbal tea, she began to reclaim her nights. 2 months later she told me, "Doctor, I feel like I've woken up younger." So I'll ask you, when was the last time you truly woke up refreshed? If you can't remember, your body already feels the burden. And as damaging as poor sleep can be, there's one more daily habit we need to face. It's not about food, or chairs, or even nights, it's about something deeper. The quiet, chronic stress that settles into your life and never lets go. Let's talk about stress next. Habit 7. Chronic stress. We've come to the final hidden habit, one that doesn't sit on your plate or in your chair, but one that lives deep inside your mind: chronic stress. A little stress isn't the enemy. In fact, short bursts can keep you sharp or help you act quickly in emergencies. But when stress follows you day after day, when it feels like you wake up already worried and go to bed still tense, it slowly poisons your body. The American Psychological Association found that 77% of adults over 60 report physical symptoms from stress, such as headaches, muscle tension, or stomach pain. Even more concerning, researchers at the University of California discovered that seniors with high levels of the stress hormone cortisol are 40% more likely to develop heart disease and almost twice as likely to experience memory decline. Think of stress like carrying a heavy backpack everywhere you go. At first, it's manageable, but over months and years, the weight bends your back, slows your step, and steals the joy out of your days. I remember Mr. Johnson, a retired firefighter from Ohio. Despite eating clean and staying active, he always looked worn down. He confessed that he couldn't stop worrying about medical bills, about his children's jobs, about whether his pension would last. His blood pressure stayed high no matter what medication his doctor prescribed. It wasn't until he joined a local seniors walking group, practiced 10 minutes of breathing exercises before bed, and reconnected with his church community that things started to shift. 6 months later, his doctor reduced his medication, and Mr. Johnson told me, "I finally feel like the heavy backpack I've carried for years has been lifted off my shoulders." So let me ask you directly, what is the heaviest weight your heart is carrying right now? You don't have to share all the details, but even putting a few words into the comments can be the first step toward releasing it. And when you do, you may find others who say, "I carry that same weight." You're not alone in this. Here's the truth. Stress ages you faster than almost anything else. But just as habits can harm, they can also heal. When you begin to replace constant worry with small daily practices of calm, a walk, a prayer, a phone call with someone you trust, your body thanks you. Your heart steadies, your memory clears, and your years stretch longer with more peace. You've stayed with me through all 7 hidden habits that quietly age us faster, from the processed meats at breakfast to hours spent sitting, sugary drinks, refined carbs, fried foods, poor sleep, and chronic stress, each one, small on its own, adds up quietly over months and years. Think about George enjoying his bacon, Linda sitting for hours, Robert sipping soda, Susan reaching for white bread, James relishing fried foods, Elena losing sleep, and Mr. Johnson carrying stress like a heavy backpack. Each story reminds us that these habits aren't just numbers or studies, they affect real people. And they affect you. Here's the hopeful part. Aging faster is not inevitable. Every small change, standing up more, choosing whole grains, replacing sugary drinks, sleeping better, and releasing stress, compounds into real improvement. Studies show that making just a few of these adjustments can reduce your risk of heart disease by up to 30%, improve energy levels, and even restore clarity to your mind. Now, I want to invite you to make a personal promise, not for me, but for yourself. Take a moment to reflect. Which habit do you feel ready to change first? Write it down, or share it in the comments. Commit to at least one small, actionable step today. It could be walking for 10 minutes after breakfast, swapping soda for sparkling water, or taking a short breathing break before bed. Remember, the goal isn't perfection, it's progress. Every step you take strengthens your body, calms your mind, and stretches the years ahead with more health, energy, and peace. And as you build these new habits, know that you're not alone. You're part of a community striving for a calmer, healthier, and longer life. So, will you make that promise to yourself today? Share it in the comments. Let others see your commitment and know that change is possible. Thank you for spending this time with me. If you found value in this journey, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone you care about, so together, we can grow stronger, healthier, and more vibrant every day. This is Dr. Jonathan Miller, wishing you a future full of energy, calm, and joy. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.